Hello, welcome to Real Reds Talk, and welcome to a brand new show. I'm joined by lovely Dave and Nick today. Before we speak to those lads, I just want to explain what we're doing today, because obviously you don't expect me as a host normally on these shows, because I'm not good at it. But it's my idea, so that's why we're doing it. So yeah, welcome to 90 Minute Nightmares. This is the show where we give things in football that give us 90-minute nightmares, a red card, and hopefully a permanent ban from football. Let's introduce our guest. Nick, how are we doing? Have we recovered from Liverpool on Sunday? Are we feeling better about ourselves?
It feels a little bit weird being on this side of the coin, I'm not going to lie. I feel nervous because I'm not hosting, if that's... I know that sounds a bit strange to people, but I feel like, it's a bit of a different paradigm for me here. But yeah, I'm not too bad. Looking forward to just watching the next game, to be honest, against Betis, just as soon as possible so we can get rid of these Scouse cobwebs. So, yeah, I'm all right. I'm much better than I was Monday morning anyway.
Yeah, we've had a few social media comments. I've had to sort of deal with that today and block certain people because it was getting a bit personal. But we got to take our lumps. We got battered, and it is what it is. Yeah, Dave, you weren't on the review, and to be honest, I don't blame you.
I don't think I physically could have been.
No, I don't blame you, to be honest, because honestly, me and Nick didn't want to do it, but there you go. Just give us some brief thoughts, like how you felt after the game, how you feeling now, like.
You know what? I feel all right now.
Yeah.
I've sort of gone through the emotional process of like the sane part of my brain was just like, oh, it's a freak result, and it was. Like, Liverpool were undoubtedly the better team on the day, especially in the second half. I think in the first half, United were probably actually better and were unlucky to go 1-0 down. But then to just concede 6 more shots and then like on target and concede 6 more goals, it's just like. It felt undeserved, but at the same time you're watching it unfold, and it's almost undescribable. Yeah. I was just like sat in fetal position on the bed for about half an hour. Not unable to process how I felt.
Taking back and forth.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a flashback to that the first ever watch along we did on the channel. Was it you and Shreyas, Nick? And we got slapped up by Liverpool then as well, so it was a bit of a weird flashback, which not fun. Fun. we move on. We got Real Betis on Thursday. I will be going to the game, as will Aaron, I believe. But Nick and Adam, is Adam doing a watch along with you?
Who knows at this point? Yeah, let's just say me. Say me.
Nick's definitely going to do one, but so we'll bring you that. We'll have the preview tomorrow, so look forward to that. Let's try and Men in Black that memory of Liverpool from our brains, shall we? Just neuralizer, gone. Finished.
Absolutely.
Anyways, we thought we'd make ourselves feel better today, and we're going to get some things off our chest. Well, these two lads are, I'm not. We did do a show a while ago called Real Reds Rehab when things were going tits up, for lack of a better term. And we got some things off our chest, and I just wanted to bring back that things. Obviously, a very bad thing. I thought this would be a perfect timing to sort of bring it in. So I'm going to explain the rules to you. So each guest, this is Dave and Nick, is going to bring 3 things about football that give them a 90-minute nightmare, and then I'm going to decide whether it's worth sending off and giving a permanent ban from football. Is that all clear to you guys?
Yeah, crystal.
Cool. The only rules I'm going to give you is nothing controversial. Like, so let's not chuck a certain striker in here, but like we won't mention. Let's not chuck him in there. So Nick's furiously deleting notes now. And then nothing,
let Dave go first.
Yeah. And then nothing based on somebody's like race, sexuality, or whatever. We don't do no discrimination, none of that shite. It's basic stuff that's an annoyance. We're not doing anything too serious. We're not doing stuff like racism in football, etc. Because we all just agree that should just be chucked in the bin anyway. So this is really personal, really opinionated, almost stuff that most people don't give a shit about. But that's the idea of the show. I've probably over-explained it, but there we go. So, let's get on to it. Nick, let us have your first offering, please.
Well, this is one I think everybody would absolutely say, yeah, throw it in there, fucking burn them, do the lot. We can't do a 90-minute nightmare without putting these fucking parasites in there, can we? The Glazer family. I'm sure the emotionally attached Avram Glazer will be so upset with this news because he's so emotionally attached to this club, and hearing something like this, I'm sure will upset him. But if you look at the 18 years the Glazers have been in charge. When Malcolm Glazer bought the other 28% off, it was two Irish, John Magnier and JP something, I believe it was, back in 2005. You can only imagine all the other little baby rat Glazers in the family at the time, looking like it's lunchtime, can't wait to take these dividends from the club. And since then, since that date, we've been drained year in, year out, left with the same amount of debt that was leveraged with us. Tried being taken into a Super League, of course. Everything that surrounds the club has been completely abandoned, the stadium facilities, etc. They have never ever seen us as a passion project. It's always been about keeping our head afloat so we can take in Champions League revenue, commercial profit, and annual dividends. That's all the Glazers ever been about. Which always goes back to, we talk about this emotional attachment. It's never, ever been there. That word annoyed me so much when I saw that quote come out, because I was like, emotion? Are you joking? Like, the fans must have just been reading that and been like myself, just what an absolute joke these guys are. Not to mention the people who left in charge as well. Ed Woodward left in charge for, was it 10 to 12 years, something on the lines of that. And you look at the recruitment underneath him, absolute disaster. Contracts were given out willy-nilly to average players. And because the contracts were so bad, it made them impossible to sell. And we've still got players to this date now who I don't need to list off. Everybody knows them. So need I mention any more in terms of the reign? They are a blueprint of how to destroy a massive club. They should never have been allowed to take over the club with the structure proposed, and they have been the worst thing to happen to Manchester United since I've been alive. They've consumed 2/3 of my life, by the way, being in charge of Manchester United. I'm 27 years old. They've been here for 18 years. They made my life, in terms of like when we're talking about football, in all seriousness, a misery at times. Yeah. A fucking misery, because we love this club. And a lot of stuff that's gone down with it is down to them. It all stems from the top, and it's time for them to fuck off. In addition to this, if Sam may allow this slight rule bend breaker, you can let me know.
I'll let you have it, and then we'll discuss.
Okay, I want to add just something a little extra in, just to go with him as well, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's Avram Glazer's haircut. It's the little the rat tail.
Yeah.
That has to be in there. Well, I feel like this symbolizes.
It's attached. It's attached to him. Well, barely. So it goes with it.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I feel like this symbolizes how much patience we have as a fan base with these owners. It's razor thin, and it's time to fucking go. So that is my first 90-minute. Induction.
I really want to play like devil's advocate on like certain stuff, but I don't know how I can.
Please try. Please try.
Fucking hell.
Please try something to see if you can come up with a devil's advocate.
I can give it a go if you like.
Go on.
Yes, please.
Go on, Dave. Give us
not that I want to. I think the main devil's advocate issue for this is, look at the other two owners who are coming to try and buy the club, and we don't want any of them either. And the argument is, better the devil that you know than the one you don't. I think that's the only real argument.
It's a very sort of porous argument, isn't it?
It is. It's one of those, like, because everyone wants the Glazers out, but you've got the whole Qatari issue coming in. You've seen what Sir Jim's done with Nice, and you're like, is that really any better?
Yeah.
There's questions of debt as well. Like it's
true.
I don't know. It's really hard.
I believe one of your mates is in the chat, Dave. There's some comments going in.
Oh, thanks, Carl.
He's put bad owners make a bad club. I mean, they are bad owners and they have made us shit, but I don't think he makes a bad club. And then I think he's been sarcastic.
We won in spite of our owners. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So
I don't think there's
he's a City fan, in it, so he's one of like three.
Oh, so he knows what he's talking about then, doesn't he, about success?
He does, yeah.
Barely had any. We'll move on.
Well, they've had their share of bad owners as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
What was that Thai guy who was literally just a criminal?
Jail, wasn't he?
Yes.
Jail, though. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if there's any way I can not put them in. Like, I can't not send them off. Like, aside from Dave's argument, there's nothing I can say where I go, maybe. No, they fucked this club up. They're horrific owners. They've done nothing positive to this club. Like you said, let the training ground go to shit, stadium go to shit, mass protests, Super League, in debt, it's just all shit. Yeah, send them the fuck off. Permanent ban. I don't want to see the Glazers ever again at Manchester United, let alone at owning a football club in Manchester. I mean, if you want to go on Liverpool, then they can go do that if they want. But yeah. Glazers said immediately, I can't object that in either way. So let's let that
I'd love
go.
to hear a rival fan try object it, and I'd love to have a discussion with them about it.
They just would, because it's United. That's the only argument they have.
Oh, we've spent money. Oh, like, oh, come on, mate. Do your fucking research, you idiots.
But yeah,
plant pots.
Guys in the comments, let us know if you agree, or if you disagree. Put your 90-minute nightmares in the chat. Let us know what annoys you in football, and I'll read them out. There's a couple here already. Dan Raj, for me, the short corners give me nightmares. Yeah, I can't stand the short corners either. They're a fucking horrible.
I don't mind them as much. I don't mind them as much, but I get it. I know what people.
It does my fucking head in. I hate short corners.
I think we're probably worse at normal corners than we are at short ones, though.
Do you think? That's fucking.
That's what Ten Hag's just to train us. I'll just fucking play it short.
Yeah.
If I had air, I'd pull it out.
Back to the keeper and reset.
Yeah.
That's what Barca used to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
They literally just because they realised they were better at playing on rather than taking a corner. It's really funny.
The ref, Aaron, the ref who sent Nani off is a 90-minute nightmare. Still have faith for that guy. Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that.
And Atletico as well, Sam.
Yeah. Oh, the Atletico. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. Corrupt bastard.
Wasn't he investigated for corruption previously as well?
Yeah.
Like,
big corruption crime.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, well, we could be here all night. Dave,
Yeah.
give us your first offering, please, mate.
My first one is to do with, in broadly speaking, it's offside. And I don't have, it's not that I don't want it to be offside. I think offside's a good rule, and I know why it was brought in and like how it had been changed over the years. However, I think it's sort of changed now to the point where it's no longer in the spirit of what it originally was. And it originally is all to do with not having the attackers having an unfair advantage. But it's now getting to the point where you're literally getting microscopes out, you're zooming in, trying to draw lines.
Or
and
forgetting,
it's getting to the point where, like,
to draw lines.
Or forgetting to draw the lines in the case of Brentford.
Yeah.
It was Brentford, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And obviously there was the whole controversy about the United versus City game where Rashford was running alongside the ball but didn't touch it. And I had like an argument with someone saying, like, I could see his point. How he interferes in the sense of interfering, but he does, by the letter of the law, he doesn't also interfere. And Howard Webb came out afterwards and did an interview about it and said, you can justify it by the letter of the law that he wasn't interfering. But the fact that could even occur is sort of like a weird travesty. But anyway, that's sort of like a side point. It's more to do with the fact that people are getting like really small amounts of measurements out just to try and prove someone like got a toenail offside. And that's not the spirit of the law.
No.
If you have to draw a line, you're onside. And I think it should just stick like that.
If you have to take over a couple of minutes to decide if it's offside or not, like, just give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker. If you can't decide, like, 30 seconds, just fucking let it go.
It was the arm one that was weird for me. Like, when they're measuring their arms, I'm like, how is that an advantage to getting forward? Yeah. Like, it doesn't make sense to me at all.
It's one of them.
It's bizarre. Like, that VAR, like, I was all for it when it came in initially. I thought, finally, decisions be cleared up, controversies, is it or not over the line with the Hawkeye was a really good success. And then we can get rid of these stupid things. Oh, if you would have just got this right, we could have. But it's just made things worse, if anything. Like, Nick, do you not think, Nick?
Yeah, the Hawkeye, I think you make a very good point because I love that technology. Obviously, we've still got wounds from when Germany did it and when Lampard scored, and you know that's one of the main reasons why it was brought in for them kind of decisions. That side, I love it. I think they could do a similar thing as well with. We had a situation against West Ham in the FA Cup last week where it looked like it was clearly out from the angle where Thomas Souček brought it back in and Ben Rama scores, and obviously we go on to win the game, so we're not that angered about it, but that potentially could have knocked us out of the whole competition. So I feel like that could be implemented around the pitch. How they do it, I have no idea, but technology nowadays, there'll be a way to do it. The offside in general, they've gone really, really, really specific with it. When you get to a point where you're going into gradients of how offside they are, then how much is that a benefit to the player? That's what you got to ask. How much advantage have they really got of 0.01 millimeters of being in front of him? It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So I agree with Dave on that. It needs to be simplified. It needs to be refined. How they do that, I don't know. I'm not a professional referee.
That's the trouble.
That's the trouble.
The old rule was, is it daylight on it? If
There
there's
used to be a daylight thing.
Daylight between them. And that's like,
Yeah.
then that seems like more of a clear advantage, doesn't it? Because if you've got daylight between them, there's a gap between them. If you're drawing where his toe is, he's technically still next to the defender. I don't see how it's an advantage. Like, I really don't. And it's baffling me because VAR was supposed to clean up all these issues. And if anything, it's made everything worse. Like,
I wonder what would happen if you brought daylight back. I wonder if defensive lines would just drop off quite a lot more because offside traps are just so much harder to play.
It changed the game.
It would.
100%. I felt like when they first introduced VAR, there was a lot of teething issues, and it took a while to sort out. But I don't know if maybe the last season or the one before, it felt like they kind of got it right, and it was going to the right. It was on the right kind of trajectory.
They got it right at the World Cup and the Euro.
The World Cup being a made example, I thought that was really, really good the way they did that there. I think another thing as well to add on, not to create my own thing here, the timing as well on the pitch. Like I actually think to stop time wasting. Just continue the clock when they think, you know what I mean? Like, so they don't add it on, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? And it just become a better, refined game as well as that. So, absolutely. I thought Dave was blowing me a kiss then, but I think might have been his missus. Yeah. So, I was actually
I'll let both of you decide who it was.
Yeah. Leave it down to interpretation.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, you just ruined my dream.
You
ruined my holiday.
The first one was for you, Nick. That one was for me.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Shout out to Misha, by the way. There's a question in the chat, I believe from Dave's mate. As a non-Man United fan discussing referees, do you think that United and Liverpool get more biased than Chelsea, City, or Arsenal? Either one of you can take that question.
I think that's probably a fair point, to be honest. I know, especially under Sir Alex Ferguson, it definitely was 100% in certain games. Certain refs would look at his stature, look at them, and they'd be less willing to make a decision with Fergie on the side. That's my personal opinion. Whether it still is now, I think it's gone against us, if anything, since Jurgen Klopp did that interview. I think it was last season, and he was like, "Oh, they get everything, they get these penalties, and blah blah blah." We hadn't had fucking we hadn't had one. So it's like we don't get any at all. I can count probably off one hand how many penalties we've had this season. I think.
Also,
if I was to go back through,
like fouls.
I remember Bruno's against Palace. I think that's the. We've probably had one or two more, but like that's the one I remember most recently.
Fouls in general as well, like the Barcelona game, where Rashford's in, and is it Koundé? Or is it
Koundé wiped him out?
Wiped him out.
That could have easily been a red card.
It's a red last man. It's the last man.
Another one.
Nothing given.
Middlesbrough in the FA Cup last year. The handball. Jesus Christ.
I think that's more a problem with the law than it was the refereeing, to be honest with you. But that was awful.
Yeah, but ultimately they make the decision on the pitch, don't they? They're like, no. Yeah. But he was really close to it as well.
But then they changed the rule, didn't they, for the City game the week later?
Yeah.
Then it became...
And then if it happened to Rodri, I think.
Yeah.
And it was like...
I don't know. Yeah. I've got to agree with Dave. I think this gets sent off as well. Like, it's completely ridiculous. It makes football less enjoyable. Like, do you remember the Casemiro goal at West Ham, Nick? All of us in the thing got up for it, and then it literally was just like VAR check, and it just deflates the fuck out of you. And it was literally, I don't know how long it was, because obviously I didn't time it, but in the stadium it felt like forever, just waiting for a VAR check. And if it takes that long, it just takes the enjoyment out of the game. Like, you just stop enjoying goals because you think, oh, this is going to get chalked offside, this is going to get put in for a shove or something like that. It's terrible.
Do you know what's funny? Just very, very quickly. When me and Adam did the watch along for Barcelona game, he was slightly ahead than I was. So he was like 10 seconds ahead. I was 10 seconds behind. So when we score, I'm behind him. I don't know if we scored. So he's celebrating. I'm like, oh, what's happening? What's happening? Then I see the goal. I'm celebrating. And then he's looking at the VAR decision.
Waiting.
So it's kind of like this chain reaction where it's just like, have we fucking scored or have we not? I don't know. That's obviously technology issues as well. But yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
But yeah, we're 2 for 2 so far. Two really, really good sort of 90-minute brought up. So Nick, give us your second one.
Okay. People with football players as their profile picture on Twitter who just troll people. I can't stand these cunts, honestly. When we talk about people in fan bases who support one player over the whole team, these Pogba FCs, Ronaldo FCs, we've seen it so many times. Yeah. Within our own club, you feel like you can't criticize their favorite player during a game, even when it's valid, even when you're like, you could come up with the best thing you've ever seen, the best analysis, most in-depth detail, and they'll be like, not, well, Pogba's better than him and he's better than him and all that kind of shit. We've had it back and forth since we started this channel. It's been a continuous theme, especially under Ragnick and all that.
Ronaldo, do you remember when Ronaldo left? The amount of shit we got in our chat and comments was just unbelievable.
Honestly, I had fiery debates with. I'm talking to a point where we're nearly fighting about Ronaldo. That's how like deep it got. Like, because they obviously love him. I love him. Like when he first came to Sporting Lisbon, I was a huge fan of him. Absolutely adored the guy. But that situation at the time, you need to take into account everything that was going on. And he was just like, no, Ronaldo's the GOAT. How could you ever do this? I was just like, mate, you can see it. It's evident. It's on the pitch. I watch him every single weekend, week out. And how many times do we have back and forth with people over these players? People who you just cannot see faults in their game because of their obsession with him. This itself creates toxicity among the fan base. A lot of these anonymous accounts as well, which is something I want to add in with that because I've seen it on Twitter. The racial abuse in general, just purely to get a reaction out of you. That's what they're there for. That's all they want. I've always said you should have to provide identification to create a Twitter account because I guarantee 90% of this bullshit will disappear within seconds. I guarantee it if you have to provide ID and they don't have to, it's either a profile picture where it's just anonymous and it's just the white and grey thing, or it's, I don't know, they'll have a specific picture from their club. And it's
Marshall and a snood.
Yes, perfect.
I know what that account. I know that account.
We all know that is. We all know that is.
Yeah, I know that exact account as well. So you know what I'm talking about. These guys or girls or whoever it is are people who can't argue in real life and they can't say what they really want to say. So they create a fake account to push their agenda for a certain player. That's how these accounts work. And we've had numerous conversations how bad Twitter is, right? How toxic it is when you read certain comments. It's for me, it's a sad reflection of insecure people basically who want to watch the world burn. So look, we saw an example of this after was it the World Cup or the Euros when it went Saka, Rashford and Sancho missed the penalties. These guys must be like crown jewels of the country and just receiving racial abuse straight after a defeat. Now we as fans are all disappointed with the result, disappointed how it went. We didn't win the trophy. We're all fuming with it, absolutely. But there is certain ways to vent your frustration. And these people with anonymous accounts or the favourite player should be removed from social media completely.
Yeah, I'm not going to give a rebuttal or a devil's advocate to the last bit that you said. I think anybody who's racially abusing players, or anybody who's personally attacking players, like for anything outside of what they've done on the pitch, I think, they need to just fuck off, like leave football fandom. We don't want you as a fan. What I do want to say is, back in the day, Twitter used to be a really fun, cool place, especially for football. Football Twitter was like a cool little sort of hangout place. And I think the anonymity? I can't say that word. I think
I definitely can't say it.
I think that added to it. I think the idea that you could just put your opinion out without worry about someone would find who you were, where you worked, blah, blah, blah. I was just, you could put your opinion out without fear. The internet was a bit naive back then. I think it's become something different now. I think Twitter it's been invaded by, like you said, this toxicity and this horrific sort of abuse, and people just get away with stuff. And like I said, the racial abuse is abhorrent, and I wish that would go away. I am an advocate for free speech to a point. When it becomes hate speech, I have to like draw the line myself. But I am an advocate to share your opinion, whatever it is. But again, there is lines to that. That would be my argument against it. I didn't know if you wanted to chip anything in, Dave.
I would obviously second everything or third everything everyone said about the whole racial discussion. That's just not on. And I know what you mean about all the player stands, as they're called, the ones who defend one player over like an entire club. I agree. I think they're just like it just adds nothing productive to the conversation. I don't even know when it started. I feel like it was probably around Mourinho era when Pogba came in and stuff.
Yep.
But what I will say, I think I don't like them, but the people, as like an addendum to that, is the LUHD accounts.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah.
I think they're worse, personally.
Yeah.
Especially during this drought. Like, for anyone who doesn't know in the comments as well, Love United, 8 Glazer attached to the name. Like, and what's the guy called?
Mike.
There's one. Mike, yeah. God. Like, literally,
hope
I don't
this helps.
He's a United fan. Yeah, hope this helps at the end of everything. Jesus Christ. Anytime United be doing well, silent. Absolutely silent. And as soon as you lose a game or you don't win a cup final, it's just like slagging off every single player, saying these are. It's literally just to get like clicks and interactions and all that shit. It's awful. He defends Jose. That's the one. Yeah. He's like the guy for Jose.
He wanted Ten Hag fired, didn't he, after the Liverpool game? I saw that. It's like.
I actually haven't seen that. I think I've just watched him because I really can't be asked seeing the shit on the timeline.
Yeah, he was like, no manager. I think Adam said it in the group chat. No manager should ever be accepted to lose that amount to Liverpool. He should be gone. But I'm just like, really? Like this? I don't understand when you support a football team. I think you can criticize performances. You criticize if players not making an effort, etc. But like to just all the time just be like,
yeah,
this is shit. This is shit. This is shit. I hate this. I hate this. Where's your enjoyment? Football's supposed to be entertaining. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
You're supposed to enjoy yourself. Like, you're trying to find something in it, and all you do is just hate. It's just like,
yeah,
I don't understand it. It baffles me.
I think a lot of it is people trying to find a niche market, like a cult following, to project their opinion of what they think. So they see a certain thing. Everybody's buzzing with Ten Hag. I'm going to find an angle on him. That you'll get that kind of little niche following to have that little group alongside you. Do you know what I mean? I see it all the time. It happens.
Echo chamber.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Like that football stand Twitter accounts and the whole toxicity that comes with it is definitely getting sent off. I wish I could just throw
the only one left is Marshall FC, isn't it? That's the one little sort of stand section we might have left.
Or Chivy.
I don't think that's as bad as any of the others, to be honest. I think the Pogba ones were and the Ronaldo ones were much worse. Because the Ronaldo ones would literally just be from anyone who supported him from Madrid or Juve just came over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, God.
Like, they're still posting now. It's like, oh, he scored however many hat tricks in Saudi. He's like, yeah, but he's in the Saudi Arabian
against the
league.
guy who's got to go and work in a shop the next day.
Come on. Like, this is not the same.
You know who is a massive person for this is Piers. I know Piers Morgan doesn't have a fucking Ronaldo as you think, but he's got Ronaldo on his cover picture where he's interviewing him saying that he had a six-pack. So he may as well be. He may as well have a profile picture of Ronaldo. And
definitely got an erection,
as soon as United... Yeah, exactly. United lose the other day. And he puts a picture of Ronaldo, and I'm like, what relevance or significance does that have to anything at all whatsoever?
Click.
Exactly, that's why, and it triggers people, and I get why he does it. I get why a lot of people do it, but that doesn't make it valid, and it doesn't make it right.
Definitely not. Yeah, that's definitely gets on. I wish I could throw Twitter in the bin as well, to be honest with you, because I used to enjoy
to that point.
I used to enjoy it so much, and now I'm just like, I barely check it. I literally go on to find news from like certain United accounts. That's it. That's literally Laurie Whitwell and Andy Mitten and people like that. That's all I follow now. I can't be asked.
Pretty much.
You just get the Athletic, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I do.
Oh, the middleman,
Yeah.
Like, quick little plug there. The Athletic.
I mean,
I don't think they need it. Like,
no, they definitely. If they want to sponsor us and give us a free subscription,
they want to plug us, mate. Yeah. That sounds wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah. Let's move on from that. Dave, are we on to Dave or are we on to Dave? Yeah, Dave.
Yeah,
Dave,
I believe it's me again.
Give us your second one.
My second one is all about to do with almost not quite elitism, but there's sneering about the way certain kinds of football are played, as if there's only one way to play football.
You've just seen that comment, haven't you, Nick?
Sorry, Dave. There's a comment that I'm going to turn YouTube off. Adam, stop it right now. Stop it. I'm turning YouTube off. Sorry, I need to get a drink.
No worries. Yeah, it's all to do with people sneering at like how different footballs are played, and that tends to it's almost like since Pep's come in, especially to the league, and everyone wants to play possession football now, and that's great, and it can be really good to watch sometimes, but it can also be pretty damn boring to watch it sometimes.
Oh, City playing boring as fuck at times.
It can be be awful. Actually, there was a time when I thought, earlier in the season when United and Palace, we were sort of playing really possession-based, and that was actually quite boring at 2-0 up. I was sat in the stadium just thinking, Jesus, is this what it's going to be like when we start dominating? But, anyway, there seems to be some sort of agenda against teams playing counter-attacking football, and I don't know where it comes from. It seems like, if you win, it's all because you sit back and countered. Who gives a shit?
Fergie used to do it all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. Have you seen the World Cup? Have you seen people win Champions League?
Seen the treble?
Yeah.
Have you seen the treble?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's one of those. It's like it's whatever wins you the game. Now I think the point goes that people who play football and like sort of managing the game and analyze it, playing possession based is a better way to win over the course of a season because it's the most reliable way to make sure you're in control of the game is to have the ball. However, for tournament football, because there's that element of you have to win this game otherwise you're out, I think it changes and
Definitely.
you need to be able to do both.
Yeah.
As like teams like City have shown over the years, they've been great at controlling games, but then along come Madrid and just like bam, counter attack, you're dead. Like you know what I mean? It's
Ollie did it. Ollie did it.
same with teams like Atletico. Ollie did
Yeah.
it great, yeah. Like
Yeah.
Ollie, for a few games, Ollie had Pep's number, as funny as that is to say.
Yeah.
There was a point where Dan James had more wins at the Etihad in those derbies than like Pep did. It was really funny.
Yeah.
It's like so people can't sneer at it. Like you need it's a valid, and I think people again who understand football more tend to think like, yeah, of course, transition's a massive part of the game, but then there's just sort of like fan culture again on Twitter, that bloody cesspool that we keep talking about, where it's just like, oh, my team plays a higher line than yours, so we're better. It's like, shut up.
Yeah. It's you know what I actually agree with what Gary Neville was saying about this, about the Ajax, because obviously when Ten Hag came over from Ajax, everyone was saying 70% possession, all this chance creation, or whatever, blah blah blah, which sounds amazing. You know, you kind of do want that to a certain extent, but I also want United to mix it up in games as well. When you're going away from home in a big European clash, if you want to get a hat trick of goals from Marcus Rashford on the counter attack, fuck me, yeah. Bring it on. I will watch that happily. If you're for teams, I don't want it like where Barcelona's absolutely dominating us, but if it's if they've got a strong foothold in the game, we've got players in that kind of ilk who can cause damage. Go for it. Why not? Why would you not use players like that? It makes no sense whatsoever. So how people can sneer at it, when it works, why does it matter? If you win a trophy, do you give a fuck? Look at the Newcastle game, the Carabao Cup. They had most of the possession a lot of the time. And it was all over us, but they couldn't cause any damage whatsoever. It was all in front of us. We take 2 moments in that game, we win the trophy. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Oh, it's the same with
Casemiro said that the near finals aren't for playing, they're for winning.
No,
well,
exactly.
Go back to the treble as well. Like Bayern Munich dominated that game for nearly 90 plus minutes. All it took 3 minutes. 3 minutes, 2 goals. Treble
in the water. That almost makes it better in a sense because you're like, you know what I mean? It's out of nowhere. It makes it exciting. That's what football's all about. That's what it should be.
And I think another sort of dimension to add to that is people like Adam's just brought up in the chat, Tony Pulis and Sean Dyche and Sam Allardyce, etc. They have a lot of critics because of the style of football they play and for the way they sort of look at the game of football. And a lot of them are looked at like dinosaurs and stuff like that. But if you look at Sean Dyche, like for his Burnley career, like he got him promoted. He kept him in the Premier League for what, 6 years, 5 years, something like that.
Longer.
I think initially they went down, but then they came back and stayed there, didn't they?
So the thing, and he got him into Europe. Like, let's not forget that he got him into Europe, and again, not attractive style of football, but for Burnley fans, that's probably one of their biggest successes in a long, long time to get into Europe as Burnley, a club of their size. So it also depends on the team that it is. Like obviously. Real Madrid, like you'd expect with a team of Galacticos, you think, oh, they're going to dominate possession, play the ball. They don't play that way. Like they don't. Like they play on the counter for a lot of the time, especially in the Champions League.
Madrid play with because they've got usually Madrid have just got like a ridiculous team who are just really good at everything.
Yeah.
So they do keep the ball, but mainly as a result of just them being better. Like it's going to be hard to not keep the ball when you've got Modric and Kroos playing for you. You know what I mean?
That's more like La Liga games, though, isn't it? Against like the lower, like your Cadiz of the world and that kind of thing.
They're not afraid to just go and break at you.
Yeah. Whereas Barcelona have their set style. It's the tiki-taka, it's the possession-based, etc. And that's the way the fans expect them to play. And it works because of the players they bring in. So I don't think... Like, I think you could
there's a cultural difference there.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
Ajax the same way. Ajax has got a similar sort of philosophy. I think you can say a style is boring at times. I think that's a valid criticism. But I also think styles match up with teams. It depends on the players you have, the budget you have, the size of the club, etc. That's what matters. You can't... Like, Sean Dyche at Everton right now cannot play Pep Guardiola based possession football. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't got the players. They haven't been working on it for years and years and years. He's not worked at levels that Pep has by Munich Bas. Like, he can't do it. So you can't expect it from teams like that. If you think your team's boring or the style of play is boring, that's your opinion. But if you're winning trophies or you're winning games, I don't understand what you're
saying. The thing is, I think Sean Dyche, someone like that, is a perfect fit for Everton, because I think Everton usually, Goodison Park is always a very, very tough place to go. They make it hard to beat them. Very physical. A lot of tackles flying in. They play the long ball. They have the players who were usually decent in the air. You talk about Duncan Ferguson, for example. Yeah. I know Calvert-Lewin's got injuries, etc. But they have always been about that. That's why it's always a tough place to go to Goodison. So when I saw Sean Dyche go in there, I was like, that's pretty much of a good fit. And if you can give him a bit of an extra budget than what he had at Burnley, I think he'll do relatively well there. And, if you get Burnley into the top 10, there's no reason why you can't do it with Everton. So it's all about the players you have at your disposal in order how you want to, play. And you need a couple of transfer windows for that as well.
Yeah, I think we're all spot on. I'm trying to find a devil's advocate argument. The only one I can think of is football at the end of the day is entertainment. Like, I think that's what it is as a sport. It's very unlike, sort of, say, a boxing. A boxing's a very much scientific. It's a battle. It's a duel. All that sort of stuff. There's a lot of boxing fights you watch, and they're not highlight reels. They're very tactical, technical fights. And if you don't know what you're looking at, it's boring. Like, it's same with MMA, for example. If someone takes someone to the ground and they're just sort of on the ground with each other, if you don't know what you're watching, you just sort of go, oh, they're just rolling around each other. Like, you don't understand what you're watching. So I think football at its heart is an entertainment sport. I think that's what comes first. So that'd be the only argument I'd have against, like, say, boring styles, because it's supposed to be an entertainment sport. But again, it's a weak argument on my part. I can't really sort of enforce it.
I think it's like like I say, it's a cultural thing as well. It's what Spanish people might find entertaining is passing the ball and just keeping it around and just moving teams around, because that's what's been ingrained in their culture from when the football was brought to them, like when it first went to Spain. Whereas in England, we've always been a lot more direct. It's only recently that Pep's come over and, like,
Klopp.
It started to be like more. Well, Klopp's completely different. Klopp's like an 80s throwback team.
But that's what I mean. He's changed. He's changed again. So you had the Pep style, and then Klopp's coming in and done something. Totally
heavy metal, gegenpress, all that kind of stuff.
Again, not to relive it, but you saw what they did to us at Anfield. That was like almost, I'm not going to say not quite prime Liverpool, because I think they've definitely been better than that. It was just United being really sloppy. But like, that's what you would expect from them, to just be at you, playing through you, Salah just running at your balls into the channels. But like, it's more technical than that. Calling it 80s throwback is a bit unfair. Yeah. But it's definitely that sort of dimension of football. It's a lot more direct than what City do. City almost don't counter sometimes.
They pass you to death,
depending on where they are in the pitch.
That's what they do. Yeah. Pass you to death.
That's why Haaland's struggling a bit, because they have the opportunity sometimes to play that quick passing behind, and they won't do it. They'll take that extra one to kill teams off and to drag them from side to side. So that's why there's been a bit of a teething issue with Haaland as well, even though he scored. It sounds mad to say a teething issue, because he scored like 25 plus goals, but there is, in terms of how he functions with the team.
But he could be on like 30 odd, couldn't he?
If he played him in behind, the amount of runs he's been making, potentially, So
Bruno has his critics, but like, Bruno's playing those passes. You know what I mean? Even if they don't always coming off, he's playing those passes.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Absolutely.
De Bruyne usually would, and he's probably one of the few who does. But if he's not in the team, people are just sort of like, "Oh, I see him making the run, but I know we want to keep the ball."
Yeah.
And they might already be winning, so it's just like it's one of them. He still scored like 30 odd goals, so it's almost mad to say that he could be on more.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's just like how good City have been, and like how good we know Haaland can be.
Yeah, agreed. Fantastic discussion, that. But yeah, I agree. We'll send off people who are snobs about football styles and stuff, because I think there's no need for it. Like, when you criticize a team for its style, like you're looking at purely style. You're not looking at the club as a whole, the money they have, the players they have, the money. Like, there's so many different factors that are at play. You can't just go to, for example, I don't want to pick on a team, but Norwich. You can't just go to Norwich and go, right, play tiki-taka, go. Like, it just doesn't work that way. You can't enforce it that way. So yeah, I agree with you. Nick, give us your third and final choice, please.
It's a bit of a mad one, because I was gonna go with, well, the online pundits who use the words you don't know ball, but a lot of people use it, not just online. It's people, football fans in general, when it's oh, you don't know ball, you don't know ball. They're them kind of people who know what shoe Michael Owen wore when he was 16 on his left foot, coming at you because you don't have a similar opinion to them. That, or it's not as detailed as theirs. Basically, obviously, in all walks of life, there are people who have different level of knowledge with certain things. Sam will probably know more about film than I do, or for example, I might know more about footballers in Europe than some people who don't watch it. Dave might know more about web developing. Do you know what I'm saying? There will be certain things which I take no issue with. People having a more refined knowledge in certain areas. No problem with that whatsoever. It's when they try to categorize you as someone who don't know ball because you don't have that level of depth. Like, it's right. All right, well, I don't watch the Bundesliga, so excuse me if I didn't know, fucking, I don't know, Sebastian Haller had 20 plus goals, or he's got a 1.6 XG, or do you know what I mean? Like, and I also understand we're in, I don't know if you call it a job or whatever, but we're in a certain thing where you expect it to have a level of knowledge because we've got a fan channel. We talk about football. We're supposed to know a certain level, which I believe we all have. I just hate it when you see the comments all the time, like, "Oh, this guy don't know ball." Like, we get it sometimes on reels or old TikToks, like, "Oh, as if this guy didn't know Darwin Núñez was 23 years old, 8 weeks, 2 days, 5 hours, and 23 seconds." Them kind of like really specific thing. It's like a Tory version of football pundits who think they're better than everybody else. Again, it comes back to a little bit of elitism, to be honest.
It's gatekeeping, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, just because they've read a fucking newspaper or they've got an online blog, they think they know more better, or because of the numbers as well. And I think we see this approach from people who have big followings. You talk about, certain people off the United Stand or certain people on pitch side talk and stuff who they won't collaborate with you. We've had these issues a couple of times. They won't collaborate with you because they've got a certain following and they've got a certain amount of numbers and it's not beneficial to them. But we've also had people on the channel, Jay Motti from Stretford Paddock and Jonathan Trager as well. Yeah. Two absolute, huge followings on Twitter, huge followings in football, but two of the loveliest people I've ever met as well. Yeah, like, at the same time.
Insanely good, insanely generous,
insanely nice people. Yeah, with the time as well, everything. So I'm not just saying it's all people are like this in that kind of football world, but there is a lot of people like that, and they piss me off when I see them comments. So that is something I would like to, consider as a 90-minute nightmare.
No, I agree with you again for the most part. I think I hate any sort of gatekeeping, especially when it comes to like stuff like this. Like, the football as like a culture is quite hostile. Like, it is quite a sort of, oh my god, scary thing if you're not around it. Like, when I took my girlfriend to her first ever United, she's been a United fan, but she's been on and off, but now she's like proper in. I took her to her first game, and it was like overwhelming how scary it was, how aggressive, how sort of like amount of swearing, the amount of like abuse, etc. It's a very toxic, aggressive thing, and if you're not in it and you don't understand it, it's very much like like stuff like that. And then you get on top of that, like you said, these snobs who come in and just be like, well, didn't you even watch the 1968 game when they played this? And you just like, no, no, I didn't. Like, it comes back to my argument previously that is now going to undermine the argument, but again, I'll use it as a point. Football's entertainment. Some people just want to watch the game, enjoy it, have a watch a bit of analysis from Roy Keane or whoever, and then go about the day. That's it. That's all they want from it. That's all they want to enjoy. Same with film. Like, I studied film at uni, and I enjoy breaking it down. I enjoy looking up like cinematographers, etc. But I'm not gonna go into like a Tarantino film and then someone come in and be like, "You didn't even watch the first 4 Tarantino films, did you? You don't even know who wrote this." Like, just fucking mate. Some people.
Did you even see Kill Bill?
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Just, you go to watch films for enjoyment, for entertainment. You just want to switch your brain off, relax. Oh, a good story, want that good. That's all some people want, and there's not wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, to just go at people and be like, "You don't know ball. You don't even understand these statistics. It's XG," and it's just like, mate, give it a rest. It's just it's entertainment.
I love football. I love talking about football. I love talking about football with my friends. Yeah. You know how deep that analysis is. Yeah. Everybody varies. Everything's different. That's the main point.
But like we've got different people on this channel. Like me and you, Nick and Dave, and Aaron. We're all from Manchester. We go to games quite regularly. But then you've got people like Adam, who lives in Ireland, but when he comes across, he does try his best and he gets to quite a few games. But then you've got Shreyas and Dan, and they're obviously living in India, so they're not able to go to games. So are we going to go to them and go, yeah, because you've not been to a game, you don't know as much as we do.
Yeah.
Like, because we can see it.
You can't talk about Old Trafford because you've never been. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Anyway, I'm going off on a rant. Dave,
let's not forget Chiver as well. Can't leave him out.
Chiver, yeah. Sorry, Chiver.
Sorry, Chiver.
Yeah, he's just an enigma. So he's in his
He's everywhere all at once.
Yeah, he's in his own like zone and world. Chiver, he lives.
Yeah.
He lives in all of us. Yeah. Anyways, Dave, contribute.
That's it.
This is my third one. Is this one?
No, just whatever Nick's, but just what Nick said on the football pundits.
If you don't want, you don't have to say anything. If you don't want, Dave.
The conversations has got all over the place, hasn't it? Somewhere, but
yeah, it's all right. We can move on.
I do know what you mean. The sort of gatekeeping it is a problem, and feeling like you're better than someone else because, like, say, because you've like read an Athletic article, to plug them again, or you've read some guys tweeted about something, and it's probably even worse when a lot of the times it's not even those people, it's the people who listen to them. You know what I mean? It's not like Whitwell gatekeeping someone else because he's a journalist. It's the people who would, let's say, listen to him or listen to someone who knows about tactics or whatever. The people who follow those, then they just like they think they're better because they follow them and they parrot what they say. I think that's where it gets quite toxic, and I agree that's not really great.
Yeah, let's send that off completely. Permanent ban. Dave, give us your third one.
So my third one is sort of quite recently relevant, and it's all to do with reactionary takes to just push an agenda that you might already have, regardless of whether it's actually right or not. So we all remember, just use this like an example again, Jamie Carragher's comments about Lisandro Martinez earlier on in the season. He said he felt, in his opinion, that it couldn't work being a 5'9" centre back. I mean, fair enough, that's your opinion. But then obviously he saw it took him a long time to accept the fact that he was wrong. But fair enough, he did come out and eventually say that he thought he was wrong. But then he starts putting out tweets with him like getting dragged the wrong way and like slipping, and just to sort of like add to the fuel of what all the other Liverpool fans tweeting about, like, oh, this guy's not even any good, is he? He's just a midget. And it's like come on, you don't even. That's where I think the you don't know ball is relevant, because they literally just haven't watched the game.
Yeah.
Like, I saw so many tweets about like people saying, "Oh, Lisandro should just play a left back." Arteta wanted him as a left back. It's just like you're just ignoring like the 95% of his games that he's been like genuinely mint.
Yeah.
Like unbelievably good. Like, just to suit your agenda, that because you've only watched him once, where the whole team's had a bad game, is like. He's got partially done by Salah, who's probably the best right winger in the league, if not the world.
Yep.
And then checks back to try and defend him and slips. Like, it is, you know what I mean? It's completely awful. I hate reactionary takes like that. It's because it's all just to sort of get interactions and clicks and people to just vent about what they don't know about.
Basically, what he's saying is he wants to put Mark Goldbridge in the 90-minute nightmares. That's what he's saying. No, but what I'm saying is there is a thin line, because I like the tribalism in sport where it's like it's our team and that's your team and we hate your players, they hate our players. I love that element about it.
I like the banter.
It's the banter.
The banter's fine, yeah.
Yeah. But then when it's like when they're absolutely persistent that they're a bad player, and Graeme Souness is absolutely persistent that Casemiro's a steady Eddie. He got asked about it the other day before the Liverpool game, and Gary Neville was like, "Do you still think he's a steady Eddie?" And he was like, "I do. I think that's a compliment. A steady Eddie." It's like it's not.
Then he changed what he said as well. He was like, no, what I actually said was he'd be a good player and then you should build around him. I was like, nah, he didn't actually say that.
No,
look at your clip, what you actually said. That's not what you said. And then they try and twist and turn out of it, don't they?
And then you look at the reasons why they're saying it. That's why that's the thing. That the main element is ex-Liverpool player, a little bit salty towards Manchester United, played a similar position. But when we're talking about levels, Casemiro is one of the best. It'd be hard to find someone in football who's at the top level to suggest that he isn't one of the best players to play in that position, because he is. It's just it's a fact, right? You look at everything he's done.
Just look at the evidence.
The evidence is there. and suggest a steady Eddie. It's all right saying like I don't think he's the best, because that that's
your
an
opinion.
argument, that's a debate to have.
If you have an opinion, just say, "Oh, I don't think he's the best DM in the world." My opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that's not my style. Yeah. That's absolutely fine. Steady Eddie. Like Lisandro Martinez is not going to work out. Do you ever watch him before? I think that's the annoying thing, isn't it, Dave? When you think like we've obviously done our research on him and stuff, and look, if you haven't,
we
that's
watch
fair
him
enough.
every week.
Yeah, but we see him every week for Manchester United. He's unbelievable. Been one of the best centre backs in the league, and that's not biased. That's not red tinted.
But like the same as well.
It would be red tinted to say he's definitely the best in the league.
Yeah,
I think that's red tinted.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's not red tinted to say he's one of the best. Absolutely.
But like we've given a lot of shit to Darwin Núñez for Liverpool, like a bit of banter, he can't score, blah blah. But we've all been in agreement. He's a really, really good player, and when he starts scoring, and he's going to be. That
was the consistent opinion. Everyone was like, "Oh, he's struggling now," but once he starts scoring, it's going to be scary because the guy's just like a magnet for chances.
And he's doing it.
Look at that.
He's doing it, and that's what we've always said. And if we wanted to be like the sort of Manchester United tinted vibe and stuff, like, oh, he's shit. He's just getting like, but we're not doing that. And it annoys me. Like Nick said, the Graham Souness, Jamie Carragher. It tends to be anything against United. They want to pick up on it and just sort of drill it in. Yeah. Gabby Abonlaho is the worst for it. He just consistently gives shit opinions.
Oh God, yeah.
Just consistent. Like, did he pick the Brighton midfielder over Casemiro?
No, it was Webster over Varane. It was
just, like, come on. Like, even if
Webster.
I know United had a shit couple of games, but Varane, a Champions League winner, like over. Yeah. Like, come on.
But they've sat there. So Gabby, as soon as he's walked in the door, they've gone, Gabby, right? United have just lost. We need something ridiculous and reactionary. And he's gone, no problem. Give me the script. And he's gone, yeah, Webster Varane. That's something I could say that would piss United fans off. Game traction, all that engagement, etc., etc. There's going to be loads of comments on there, whether they're good ones, whether they're bad ones. Boom. It works every time. It does it every single time. Every single time.
It shouldn't be labelled punditry because I don't believe it qualifies as punditry. It's like labelling that guy on TikTok, the Irish Scouse fan. I can't remember his name.
Jonathan something.
It's like labelling that journalism. It's just fucking not, is it? Like, it's not. Yeah. Like, it's complete polar opposite. If they wanted to label it, say, "Oh, this is this player's opinion," fine, not a problem. But you're a pundit and you're giving analysis, and it's not analysis. That's just personal detriment to other people because you don't like them. And I don't feel like. I think Gary Neville goes the other way. He goes too far because he's clearly a United guy. He's a United supporter, played for United his entire life, and he tries so hard to be neutral, and then he comes off worse almost because he tries too hard to be neutral.
I think the problem is with me. Sometimes I've done videos like after Arsenal, for example, and I'm like, Jorginho, 12 mil, you having a laugh, like little things like that.
It's bad,
but yeah, exactly. But I actually think like Graham Souness genuinely believes that he's a steady Eddie.
Oh yeah.
Like he was convicted in saying it. Like maybe he'll come out and be like, "Oh no, I was only saying it as like a throwaway comment or whatever." But I actually think he's like, I actually think he is a steady Eddie, and it's a ridiculous thing to say. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that's definitely going. That's getting sent off and permanent banned. I think I've let everything.
That's 6 red cards.
Yeah, I've let everything in here. I need to be.
That's enough for the game to get cancelled. That.
Yeah, it's gone. I think next time somebody needs to come with a more controversial opinion so I can keep it on the pitch. But let's read some comments out before we go. Go on, Nick.
No, I was gonna say maybe we'll do that next time. Bring something that's not as strong or something that. Yeah, maybe. Because the Glazers is something that's always going to get fucking thrown in it, let's be honest.
Yeah. Vincent Bullock, thing with United stand wouldn't have you on. I don't know what that means. Because you can't earn money. Okay, fair enough. I understand it now. That's why you guys treat everyone equal. Even if they don't super chat, you treat them. Fair play to you guys. I mean, we don't have super chats on at the minute because we're not monetized. But even if we did, we'd still read out.
We'd still read,
That's just what we do. Adam, gatekeeping in football, honestly, one of the worst things about modern football. Foreign fans get up early and stay late to watch their teams. So yeah, I totally agree. I know what you're saying, lads. This is from Vince. I've been told I don't know anything about United because I'm not from Manchester. It's just like, it's shit like that. It's ridiculous. Like, oh, he's not from Manchester. You don't understand it. Like, come on. also because I have a disability, I should not be a United supporter, but I do what I want and I'll support who I want. Glory go Man United. Yeah, like, again, that's just the next level of gatekeeping. It's just like, oh, you're disabled, so you should, like, fuck off. Like, just literally fuck off in the bin.
Never heard a more ridiculous fucking thing in my life. Like
Chivy, you don't know balls should only apply to Graham Souness. Yeah, there's a lot of support for Vince in the chat. Adam, Vince, don't listen to anyone. You can be this or that, be whatever you want. Yeah, exactly. And then Rubber, unfortunately, pundits should leave their emotions at home, but that won't attract viewers. Yeah, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day, doesn't it? It's like, it doesn't attract viewers, so why, they're just going to keep doing it. Chivy's loving your Bon Lahore impression, Nick.
Oh, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't worry about that.
And then Adam's got a question. If you could make one rule change, what would it be? Could be pausing the clock, sin bin, instead of sending off for less serious fouls. What would you change?
You know what? As soon as you said sin bin, then I instantly thought of Lissandro in a hockey fight, just scrapping and getting sent off and put on the... Yeah, I instantly thought of that. I do think there are ways to improve the game. I think, is it Iker Casillas or someone who's came up with a new thing at the minute? Is it white card football or red card football or something? Have you seen it?
No.
Like, some of the rules on that look pretty fun. The way that it's still like a 8-a-side thing, a 10-a-side, but they have set rules and timers and clocks, things to that thing. Which I honestly look it up. I think it's what I called white card football, and it was like Iker Casillas. There was a few world class talents who have come up with this game now. But some of the rules they have in it look really, really fun. And yeah, I think there is definitely some stuff you can do. We were discussing it before about the time, like you saw with the World Cup, they added time on. But to stop time wasting, I think there is something within that thing you can do to make the game better. There's loads of stuff you can do, but I'm on the spot, aren't I? So I can't think of the top of my head, but
I would get, like we explained about when Dave was brought up offside before. I think with an offside thing, I think you've got a certain period of time, like say a minute, 30 seconds, to make a decision. If you can't make that decision, you give the benefit to the attacker. I think that's how it should work. I think it's ludicrous that it takes 3, 4, 5 minutes to make a decision, and then he goes over to the monitor to check it anyway. Like, it just takes all the enjoyment out of the game. But that would be my change. Dave, any rule changes?
The ones that are mentioned, I do think one to explore would definitely be the the stop the clock. But me and my friend actually had a nice discussion about sin bin. And this was sort of around the time where you'd see Fernandinho in his prime making those tackles that we'd always get away with.
Yeah.
And me and my mate were having a discussion, and we sort of had a chat about sin bin being applied for tackles where you just stop them without any intention of going for the ball. Like, say you see people holding onto someone or pulling the shirt like that, and you would maybe go out of play for like five minutes or something.
Yeah.
Or like potentially you get. I think that was like, instead of like, it was all to do with making tackles, but like you had to sort of make sure you were going for the ball. It was just to stop people going intentionally tactical fouling to break up a game.
Yeah.
It was. I can't remember the specific rules that we came up with. Like, it was just more of a deterrent instead of like a straight red for certain things. For example, I can't remember exactly what it was now. I'd have to have a chat to him, but it was in and around that.
Do you know what's another thing as well? I don't know if people would agree with this, but I'd love, instead of throw-ins, kick-ins. I don't know why. I just think that'd be like a fun element to it.
That'd be a fun rule.
Like, cause obviously you kind of have, when it goes for a throw in near that area, instead of like it'd be a corner, but essentially just move slightly along, wouldn't it? So people would be more worried about giving it away. They'd go more direct. And I don't know. I think it'd be people would be more worried about throw-ins then, because you get a throw-in, it's back to that guy, recycle possession, you do whatever. But if it's a kick-in from a decent area, I think it makes the game a little bit more exciting. But I think, why not? Fuck it, do kick-ins.
Yeah, it could be interesting. I'd get behind that. But yeah, I think they need to overhaul VAR in general. I think that needs to be looked at. But maybe in the summer, because there's been so many instances this season where it's just been unbelievable. So maybe they'll look at it this summer and go, we need to change something here.
I would like stop the clock 60 minutes trial somewhere though.
Yeah.
I think that could be really useful. Because at the minute, I think the average amount of time is around 55 or 54 minutes.
Yeah.
If you Newcastle,
Yeah, for some, no, that's about right. Newcastle are like, you're probably like high 40s, maybe. That's probably what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Similar with Villa in certain games, like the ball's only in play for like 40 odd minutes, and like they're pushing that up to like 60 minutes consistently, I think would be good. And just like be really harsh on the stop the clock. If you want to waste time a little bit, there are ways to waste time with the ball in the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just take it to the corner flag and hold it there. You can waste time that way. There's no problem. But it's like it's when you have the keepers like waiting 10 minutes to take a goal kick.
Oh, he's pretending he's got cramp or something. And he's laid down for.
And be a bit harsher with like the goalkeepers holding onto the ball for 20 seconds in their own area.
Yeah.
No one's half the time you can't release it in 6 seconds because you've still got people around you. So like you should like maybe say, okay, you've got 15 seconds, but I'm going to be harsh with it, and if you take more than that, I'm booking you. Or maybe
that reminds
12
me a little
seconds
bit
or something like that.
Do you know in UFC where they're on the ground for too long and they're not really making too many actions, so they'll stand them up, won't they, and they'll continue the thing. And I know we're a little bit run for time, Sam. I know we're stretched. I just had a brilliant idea. Do you know them World Cup playoffs they have when it's like for 3rd place and 4th place and no one gives a shit about them? And no one gonna watch this. Yeah. Not just that. No, if you don't want to get rid of it, you know them bubble things that Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville did, where you can just run into each other. Yeah. Just have one game like that where
have you ever done that?
Into each other. Yeah, I've played it.
I really want to do that.
It's fucking hilarious, honestly. Just get like 2 rival teams, Argentina versus Brazil, Arsenal versus United, whatever it is you want to do, and just get them fucking smashing each other and have a little like 6-side pitch.
Alternative of the thing I've been trying to get off the ground is football mascot fighting. I want to see Fred the Red against whatever that fucking alien thing is at City and fight in the middle of the centre circle.
Do they have a mascot?
Yeah, it's an alien, isn't it? City.
Yeah. I don't know. I've not seen it.
Have they still got him? They used to have him anyway.
I have no idea.
I don't know, but I don't know if he's still in the chat. That's like some Harry Hills TV burp shit, that is, man.
That's what I want. I want to see.
I like Fred the Red, but I also like City. Which one's better?
I want to see. I want to see a football mascot fight. Like, did West Brom have like a fucking boiler at one point? Like it was one.
Yeah, they did.
That was fucking hilarious. Yeah. Fred the Red just punching the fuck out of a boiler. Like,
they could do a proper promo for it as well. Yeah, exactly. like a pan shot of Fred the Red.
Shot really like UFC style. Like
exactly,
dark light, like it'd be fucking
cracking his knuckles.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be fucking great.
Paolo's just got a pipe.
He walks out. He's got fight music. He walks out of Stretford End Tunnel. Like, it'd be amazing.
And all the fans are like, "Come on!"
Yeah, exactly.
And Fred's like, "Yeah."
Like half time.
Gladiator style.
Yeah, half time. It'd be fucking brilliant. But maybe I'm just mental.
They just cart out a little boxing ring quickly.
Inflatable boxing ring.
Yeah. Yeah,
anyways,
we would make football so much better.
Anyway, or worse, depending on your opinion. Anyways, I think this has been a really good show. I've fit the first 90-minute nightmares. I've really enjoyed it. I thought we've had some good discussions. I don't know about you lads.
No, it's been different. It takes it away from usual previews and you think, which I do like doing, and you watch songs, but this is it's different. I like it.
Cool. Yeah, we'll definitely get it back, and we'll get some new people on, and I think I'm gonna try and get like Jay Motti on and Jonathan Stryger on and stuff like that, and get their
that was gonna be my thing. It'd be good for like a guest one, someone else's opinion besides our own.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. Everybody's going mad for the mascot fighting in the chat, by the way. People are loving the idea.
Yes.
Fred beats up the boiler, takes him down to the scrapyard and chop him in. Guys. Shah Sam, mascot fights. I'm up for that. Yeah, absolutely.
Fred the Red versus Gunnosaurus. That'd be fucking.
There you go. Yes. First fight, main event. That's the main event. Gunnosaurus.
That would sell so many fucking people.
I'd buy. I'd be like,
manage Fergie in one corner and Wenger in the other.
Yeah. Take my money right now because I would take that against Gunnosaurus on his back legs.
Imagine Arsenal Fan TV after Gunnosaurus gets me up. Just Ty going mental at the camera because Gunnosaurus.
You're a fool and you're a waste of time.
I think we're on to a winner, lads. I think we need to copyright this shit. We need to
I think
pattern
we
it.
are.
Just yeah.
Listen. If you want me to go get a Fred the Red suit, I will participate in that happily, and we'll get our own series going.
I nearly had to do that once. I used to work at Old Trafford in the Red Cafe, like for a little stint, and one of the other guys who I was working with had to do it. I was like, thank God for that.
I've done it. Not Fred the Red, but I've done it as like a job before where I've been a mascot. Not fun, let me tell you. And I can't imagine fighting in it would be much funner. But if it's good money, fucking sign me up.
Entertainment, fucking love it. Adam.
Go on. Go on.
He's doing an impression of Ty. Gunnosaurus was robbed today. The ref for disgrace.
I wish I could do an impression of Ty, man.
Oh, fucking hell.
Martin Tyler, you're a waste of space.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That was funny as fuck. Adam, you win the show, mate. I thought it was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'll tell you off camera.
Anyways, thank you so much, lads, for joining me. It went a bit off the rails at the end there, but well worth it. I think I think we need to bring mascot fighting to the mainstream. But yeah, thank you for coming out, lads. Appreciate it. If you've got anything else you want to say.
I'm happy to end on that.
Subscribe to the channel if you're new, if you're watching this afterwards or you're live. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment on what sort of 90-minute nightmare you're having, and put it in the chat. And then we'll bring some new people back on. We'll get some guests on, and then follow. Have you seen another comment?
No. I'm dying to tell you this thing.
Sorry. Okay. Follow us on the socials. Links in the description. All the good stuff. Appreciate everybody for watching. But see you all later.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Peace, guys. See you in a bit.